Hi, my name is Emily Comark, and this is my response to the case study, Parent Apathy. Category 1, Problem Identification and Analysis. What do we know? Currently, we know that there is not a PTO or PTA organization in our school building. We know that the school has previously had a parent organization, but it is no longer a part of our school. We know that our principal beliefs do not favor parent organizations, and we know that the assistant principal has tried several times to bring up the importance and the need for a parent council or community parent community group to enhance and impact the school district. What do we need to know? One thing that would be helpful to know is how many years there has not been a PTO or PTA and what the reasoning was for it to fail as an organization in the past. Has there been any parent surveys completed to collect accurate data and about parent perceptions of the school and why there seems to be a group that's not involved? Is it based on transportation to and from the school? Is it the times that a parent organization meets? Is it the way that the teachers portray themselves and the organization, its goals and its values? What are the reasons why parents aren't involved? What are the current methods of communications for parents, and if it's done in a timely manner? How are we relaying information to parents, and is it something that is beneficial to parents? Is it a way that they can communicate? Also, what are the cultural demographics of the building? Because sometimes that can influence how you communicate with your parents and your community. Identifying the problem. Based on the principal perception, as well as the lack of communication, it appears that there is not a comprehensive plan for communication with parents, and therefore communication with parents is minimal, and relations with the community appear to be non-existent at this point in time. And category 2, our proposed plan of action with appropriate strategies for implementation. First, as the assistant principal, I will ask the principal if I can lead this parent group that is here, the 8 parents that are attending the meeting. I think it's important. They're here. They're ready to go. We don't just turn them away because we don't have enough members. Next, I will form a committee to develop plans for parent community correspondence. I would start with the group that came to the meeting and invite them to continue dialogue and working with me, as well as maybe some teachers in our district or our school, to look at those issues. And then the committee will work to create surveys to measure the perceptions of parents and community members, and as well as find out what the best ways are to communicate with parents. Next, the Parent Community Advisory Council will be formed with school leaders, parents, and teachers, and we will look at our goals, our visions, our challenges. We'll discuss all of those things and survey the results that were analyzed from the surveys. The committee will create a comprehensive community-parent relationship and communication plan. That way we have a plan in place and we know how to communicate with our parents in our community and how to improve those relationships. Next, this group will begin sending out newsletters and start maybe a Facebook page for the Parent Advisory Council, as well as encourage teachers to send weekly notes and updates to parents to improve those communication efforts. Then this group will continue to address concerns and include the community and parents by inviting them to meetings and having open dialogue about issues in the school. And then finally, this group will continue to meet so it is an ongoing process and reflect on what is effective communication and making sure that voices are heard and issues can be resolved, as well as we have a good solid foundation of communication, open lines of communication for all parties. As the leader, my strategy is to make sure that we are all creating positive relationships for our parents, as well as including all members that wish to be included. I think it's important to include community members, not only kids, parents of children at the school, but whether that be neighbors who deal with students walking on sidewalks and issues like that that can arise. Include everybody in the community so that you can have an open playing field when you're talking about issues at the school. I will also assist in bridging those gaps between staff members, faculty members, and parents to try to rally for some, and also try to rally for some support from my higher administration, my principal, because I think it's important that everyone's on the same page when you talk about communication, and teachers don't feel attacked when you start talking about the lack of communication with parents. I think it needs to be pretty open dialogue and making sure that everyone understands that it's important and that it makes a difference in our schools, and maybe that's something they haven't done in the past, and we need to look at that a little bit more carefully and clearly. The next thing I plan to do is be an active participating member of the committee and lead the efforts in building a comprehensive communication plan. It's so important that everybody's on the same page and has a clear understanding of what messages need to be sent and how those messages need to be sent and the timely manner that they need to be sent. And especially when we think about the crisis management plans for communication, we want to make sure our staff is on board and educated about what that plan is as far as communication is, and then making sure our parents understand that if there's a crisis, this is how we're dealing with it, and this is what kind of communications you can expect from the school district. Category 3, to resolve the issues based on promoting success for all students. The assistant principal states that through her recent coursework, she understands how important it is to have a comprehensive plan for parent and community involvement. In order for us to do what is best for students, we have to have plans in place for communicating with parents. If we don't have plans in place, then it's every teacher communicating with parents in their own way. It's the district, or the school building kind of communicating in its own way, and it really needs to be a cohesive effort, especially if there's not a designated PR person in your school to deal with those issues. The case study also stated that the principal feels that he has a good pulse for the community based on a few phone calls and conferences. Well, we really must be meeting the needs of all our students by making sure we are doing what's best for the entire community, which means getting the perspectives of a good sampling through surveys and data. When you just make assumptions, you can be wrong, and when you just sample from phone calls from a few parents, you're not really getting a good sampling of your entire demographic, and so we want to make sure we're meeting the needs of every student by making sure that we have a wide range and a good sampling of those issues. The assistant principal has been persistent. I have been persistent with trying to address the situation by bringing up the need for community relations at a later meeting when we met in the beginning, and I had kind of referenced that, and it was put off, and then later come back and he goes for it, and so we start this meeting. But this is important because the administrator, understands the need for a program and plan for communication in order for the school to be successful. I think if that's an issue and you're lacking in that area, you're going to run into some roadblocks, not only with your students and families, but with your community as well. What was I thinking, feeling, and valuing as I responded? 1, I really value my current district plans and procedures for communications with families in the community. We have great parent organizations that communicate with us regularly. We communicate with them. We have a PR professional who handles crisis management communications with media, newspaper outlets. I really value, after reading this, I really value the amount of communication that we do have with our community and with our parents, because it's something that is obviously not always the case. Next, I think about how important communication is to the educational institution as a whole. When you think about schools, and how we are a face-to-face institution, communication is so important to make sure that we are making sure that we are putting out clear messages and that everyone is understanding and everyone has their voice heard in some way. And finally, I feel that the current principal in this situation might need to reflect on his own beliefs and what is best for students. It appeared that he's kind of making some assumptions and has a lackluster response to some of the situations, and maybe he needs to take a step back and think about what the important pieces of education are and how important it is that our students and our families feel respected, feel involved, and can help make a difference in their child's education. Some issues that are unresolved. First, the issue that is unresolved for me is the principal's perceptions without facts and data to back up his speculations. The next unresolved issue is why the organization did not work in the past. We're not sure why it didn't, whether it was transportation, whether it was times of meetings, whether it was lack of communication about meetings, whatever it may be. And finally, the lack of administration support for not allowing a school to have an official organization such as the PTO and PTA really needs to be addressed. Component 3, Component 1, collaborating with family and community. I felt like I was collaborating with families and communities by continuing to have the meeting on the night of the meeting. It was important that those families feel like they made the effort to go ahead and be heard. I'm continuing to meet with family and community members to create a comprehensive plan for communication, and I'm assisting our team by inviting business partners and community members to address concerns and issues to be dealt with. Component 2, responding to the diverse needs of the community on an ongoing basis. By surveying the entire demographic of our school, we will be getting the perspectives of all members rather than just a small population. By continuing to meet monthly, we'll be responding to the needs of our community in an ongoing manner so that we can continue to make changes. And also by figuring out what the best way to communicate with our parents is, then we can meet the diverse needs of the community by offering multiple ways to send information to our community. And finally, component 3, mobilizing community resources to address and help solve problems in a way that supports the schools. If the problem happens to be transportation, then we can work with community programs to offer and assist transportation to and from the school for parent meetings. Using the community resources to get information out to parents in ways that are easily accessible to them. Sometimes social workers and some of those resources in our schools, but also outside our schools, can be great advocates in helping us make parents informed about certain issues going on at school. Also, inviting community leaders and business partners to assist with programs in the school can have a positive impact on our population. And as long as we're willing to open our doors and start those conversations, then we can really benefit from those types of relationships within our district. Thank you.